Hello and welcome back to another history video where we look at some original German documents. Well, I guess they're scanned in, so they're not entirely original. This time we will look at another Normandy Panzer Division, but not 21st this time, but the Panzer Lehr Division, which I think technically was the 130th. And this division, now first of all, Panzer Lehr means Panzer Teaching Division, or I've also seen it translated as Tank Demonstration Division. Basically, this was the ideal Heer Panzer Division, the ideal Panzer Division in terms of how it was organized and equipped. This is what the Germans wanted if they had the resources to do that, their Panzer divisions to look like in 1944. And this was the one division that actually reached that, and it basically got destroyed in Normandy. It got recreated later, but it never really reached this level of equipment and manpower ever again. This is from June 1944, right before the invasion hits, and as you can see from one just look at it, they're almost completely up to strength. There are some slivers of red here where people are missing. Some of the medic troops still have to be added, but generally speaking, it's very well equipped. So yeah, let's start with the Panzer Artillery. Now, there are some captured guns here, which is unusual for this division. They have heavy Russian howitzers here. Other than that, they have towed light howitzers here, and then over here, which apparently has not reached the unit yet, they have Hummels Vespers, which, as far as I know, in Normandy they did receive them, so this is just kind of a snapshot, because this unit was completely new when it got fed into Normandy, and some of the units had not been completely established at the beginning or when this document was made, but they were added later. Now, if we look for the infantry, what is, I think, immediately apparent is that this division was completely equipped with APCs, which is really unusual. Normally, the vast majority of Panzer Grenadiers would be transported in trucks. Not the case here. You can even see they wrote down how many SPWs, so how many SDKs had, 251s they had, so 21, 21, 21, completely up to strength. This one still needed a bit of manpower, but also they had their equipment there, and they also had several special versions. So as you can see, each company, because remember from the last video, this is one company, each company had two with a 75mm gun built in for fire support, and also two, or rather most of them had three, some only had two, with the 3.7cm pack gun, which was the platoon chief vehicle. So for example, in this battalion, every platoon leader was transported in one of those gun half-tracks. Here, only two of the three. So, yeah. But generally speaking, they had these special versions as well as anti-aircraft and so on. Now, what is special here is you can see there's 8,8 down here, 13. Now those are not 88mm flak guns, these are actually Panzerschrecks, I believe. And so every company, and this is actually really unique, had 13 Panzerschrecks. There's a KSTN, so that's like a table of equipment for Panzer Grenadiers, where every Panzer Grenadier squad was supposed to carry a Panzerschreck. I haven't looked at all the documents, but I think this is the only division where they actually did that. So every squad here would have a Panzerschreck attached, probably a two-man team inside the squad with a loader and the guy who carried the actual weapon. And they also still had some to spare for like platoon HQs or whatever. So this is actually quite unusual for a German formation to have that many fairly heavy infantry anti-tank options. Yeah, so there's some mortars here, for example, also in half-tracks. So yeah, there's really basically all the mid-1944 half-tracks that you can imagine they had in these units here in these two Panzer Grenadier Lehr regiments. I did actually have, one second, yeah, this is a famous, now colorized photograph. These are Panzer Grenadiers of Panzer Lehr Division in Normandy, or at least that's what this picture is usually labeled, and it does look like that because that is the insignia here, so that makes a lot of sense. So, yeah. Panzer Grenadiers now with 21st Panzer. I also looked at the small arms, but this division is somewhat weird in that whoever was in charge of making these documents was kind of lazy when it came to small arms. The closest document about that I could find was actually from April 1944, so not quite the same time as this, but one second, we have a small arm listing here. So this is nothing special. There are no captured weapons here. They are all standard equipped. You have your K98K, scoped ones, Selbstladegewehre, so G41 or G43 are called Selbstladegewehre here. This is not really standardized. Rifle grenade equipment, enough for all the squads, I would say. And then pistols, machine pistols. As always for Panzer Division, there's quite a few machine pistols because many of them are board weapons. So yeah, infantry, fairly standard stuff, but extremely well equipped in terms of support and transport and such. Yeah, another detail here that you can see, apparently these are flak troops, and this I think is Vierling. I'm not 100% certain here, but it would make sense to me. So 2 Vierlings to normal 2 centimeter, and this symbol means that they're on a half track. So, tanks, also really standard and completely up to strength. You have 1 battalion here in the Panzer Lehr Regiment 130. You have 1 battalion here with Panzer IV. They are all Panzer IV longs, so the normal Panzer IV-H that 21st Panzer Division also had. And this one also as completely up to TOE, equipped with Panzer V's Panthers, the famous Panzer tank. So half and half equipment. This was standard for 1944 Panzer divisions. Yeah. Now what's not standard? Okay, and also you can see here Vierlings flak and so on. But what's not standard is first of all somewhat unusual in the company. No, sorry, in the regimental HQ. You can see there are 38 Ts. These are not the old Panzer 38T, but rather the flak Panzer that is based on that chassis with a 2 centimeter flak. I see them often called Gepard, which means cheetah, in you know, that fast kind of cat. I don't know if that's actually a historical name. Never looked into that, but I think the official designation is Flak Panzer 38T. And these would have supported the Panzer Lehr Regiment. These were the first. I think actually there was a Panzer 1 or a Flak Panzer 1, but these are the first kind of real standardized Flak Panzers that the Germans had. Now, what's interesting here is this FKL. That means Funklenk or radio control. So this unit here had, as you can see, 3 Panzer 6s, so Tigers, and 9 assault guns. Now, this is actually unusual in that, first of all, Tigers were usually, with some exceptions like Großdeutschland and so on, but they were usually not used on a divisional level, but were attached troops, you know, from a battalion, standalone battalion. What is also unusual here is these are probably the 3 King Tigers. In fact, 3 of the very first King Tigers ever made, and this is apparently, I'm not 100% certain, but this is apparently a photo of those actual King Tigers, or at least 2 of them. And as you can see, they used what is normally falsely called the Porsche turret, which is basically the pre-production version of the King Tiger turret. Now, why did they have those, and what kind of unit is that? Now, a radio control unit basically had control tanks and radio-controlled, remote-controlled tanks, usually the Borg Ward 4. So the idea is you sit in your Tiger or your Stuck with a powerful radio set that is built into the turret, and from that you can remote control a Borg Ward 4 demolition tank. You drive that up to the target. It puts down, I think it was a 500 kilogram explosive charge at, for example, a bunker or an obstacle that is covered by enemy fire. Then you drive it back and then you remote detonate that explosive. So it's basically a bit like a drone. Now, there were several of these units, some standalone battalions as well. They never really worked that well, so the Germans were always disappointed in how those actually functioned. Because as you can imagine, the radio technology wasn't really there. And on top of that, obviously they couldn't have like a video live feed. There were no computers in that sense. They didn't have the possibility of transmitting that kind of data in a small scale, you know. So basically you would have, and this is why they had King Tigers and stuff like that, you would have to sit in a tank and remote control it like an RC car, which also means that if you drove that into like a ditch that you didn't see from your position, or drove onto a mine or a shell crater, you wouldn't be able to get it out of there really easily. So this was basically unpractical, right? Now, regarding these King Tigers, from what I've heard, they actually sent them back. And if I remember correctly, I looked at some later documents and these aren't there anymore. So they were so disappointed in their reliability that they basically sent them back to the train station, and they didn't take part in the fighting, at least not as part of the division. So yeah, there's that. Really kind of a failure here with these, but an interesting unit nonetheless, and the Stuks were certainly useful, you know. So yeah, quite unusual, quite interesting stuff here. Now, they also had, as you can see here, a Panzer Lehr Abteilung, or a tank hunting unit. These had Panzerjäger Force, which is the Jagdpanzer IV, which was new at the time, and they also say here 7.5 centimeter Pack Mode Z. I think these are Marders. I don't know which type exactly. These were substitute standard, so apparently they did not get all the Jagdpanzer force they needed, so they had some Marders attached as well. So then we have the, as always, very complicated reconnaissance battalion here. Again, 26 APCs, 28 APCs, 28 APCs, some with the 75mm gun, 60 light machine guns, very well equipped again, probably with SDKFZ 250s, the short one. Here we have scout cars, and these have 5cm guns, so these are Pumas actually, so they're 26 Pumas, which were fairly rare. This is one of the divisions that actually used those. And these are also SPWs, APCs with a 2cm gun. So these would be the SDKFZ 250/9, which had a 2cm gun in a turret on top. These were fairly standard equipment, but as far as I know, these half-tracked scout cars kind of fell out of production at this point, but yeah. So yeah. Oh, and again, Panzer Pioneers also completely in SPWs. So yeah. So anyway, yeah, as I said, very well-equipped division. Probably the best equipped division in terms of modern equipment and size that the Germans ever fielded. And it got completely destroyed and attrited in Normandy. So that was their last and only hurrah. But yeah, quite interesting stuff. Hope you enjoyed it. Thanks for watching and have a nice day.